Hey guys, Drifter here. Today I've got an Apex Legends character guide for you on Bloodhound. Bloodhound is a strange character in Apex Legends that plays very aggressively when played properly. When the game first came out, I thought that Bloodhound was sort of a slow-paced tracker that casual teams would use to plot about and find enemies, but as the game progressed, I eventually discovered that almost all of their moves were designed around offense. Bloodhound is, at the end of the day, one of the most aggressive legends in Apex Legends, and all Bloodhound does is quite literally hunt enemies down and run them down like a Bloodhound dog. Let's talk about their passive first. The passive has honestly a lot going on with it. It's called Tracker, and Tracker appears very simple in its nature in that it leaves little red map indicators on the ground where enemies performed some action there in the past. What you're really looking for is footsteps, but you'll see climbing, healing, bleeding, looting, almost any sort of action that can have any impact on the game world will leave some sort of track or something that you can see when it happened. As I said before, you're mostly looking for footsteps to see where people ran to. However, seeing where people were hurt or there was a fight nearby and they healed 10 seconds ago or they climbed up a ledge can be very useful as well. Don't forget that you can actually ping these actions in any system using your ping button, and it'll make them visible to your team and call out to the team if you don't have a microphone. Most Bloodhounds are just going to be on the mic telling their team what's going on, but if you're playing with randoms, you can just ping it and Bloodhound will make the call out for you. On top of seeing that enemies have been somewhere, you can also see exactly how long ago they were. The most important bit of information this passive gives you is it tells you exactly how many seconds ago enemies were here. I think it's up to 45 seconds, but what you're really looking for is here 10 seconds ago, 5 seconds ago, 3 seconds ago. That's when you know you're getting close, and you want to follow this little trail of footprints and climbs and heals and reloads and various actions until you get closer and closer to your enemy. This ability in itself makes Bloodhound one of the most aggressive legends in the game, much less everything else we're going to get into today. Bloodhound can literally run people down across the map. You can follow the trail as far as you are able to track it, which is incredibly far. However, you do need to be careful when engaging on people. This is a mistake that I make with Bloodhound and that I see a lot of other players make, is that you focus on these footsteps and just run after these footsteps eternally until you literally run right up into the butt of the enemy team and you've got your gun put away and you're not prepared for it and they turn around and hose you. So it's nice to be able to sound whore a little bit with good headsets, or to move a little bit cautiously, or to always kind of keep an eye on how long ago those footsteps were there, because once you start getting within about 3 seconds, 5 seconds, you need to break that gun out and be ready to fight. One unique interaction with this, however, is that Wraith doesn't leave any footsteps on her void walk. If you're trying to hunt down a Wraith and she void walks, that can throw off your trail a little bit. I guess it makes sense because she's not interacting with our physical world, but it is a little bit unique. Also, if you're playing as Bloodhound, you will notice that there are crows on the map. Wherever you run, they'll kind of flutter away, and this is a reference to Odin, the Allfather, which is the god of Bloodhound. And I have seen a lot of guides on the internet, a lot of Reddit threads, a lot of suggestions that say the crows give additional information. Whatever direction the crows fly is where the enemies are, or this number of crows means this amount of things, and a lot of strange information. However, when I've been playing in game and when I've been testing and when I've been looking for like really hard examples, I haven't noticed anything consistent about the crows that I can tell you will give you any better information. I really think they're cosmetic. However, I do suspect that maybe, and this is not a fact in a mostly factual video, the crows show up when you were getting close-ish to an enemy. When you run past the set of crows, you should kind of know that you are getting close to fighting. That is the best that I've been able to glean off of it. Now let's finally move on to Bloodhound's quick ability. It's called Eye of the Allfather, and it's essentially one of the scan burn cards from Titanfall 1, or kind of like the scanning grenade from Titanfall 2. This ability, when you hit it, will reveal all enemy players and, interestingly, all traps inside of its vision. You'll see everything going on with the map, and what it does is it sort of takes a still screenshot, like a Polaroid or a camera picture, so you can see through the wall that very instant. Unfortunately, you can't see the enemies moving in real time, though you do get an idea of where they were that instant and what direction they're heading, because obviously you can see what direction they're looking. And one of the most important things about this ability, the one that I screwed up a ton at the start of the game, and it's in my head this way and I still instinctively screw it up even though I know it's better, is that it's not a 360-degree scan. I kept thinking of it like the burn card or like the ping grenade from Titanfall 2. It's literally a visual cone directly in front of you with very little scanning far to your right or behind you or below or above. You need to be facing the enemies when you scan it because they project it outward toward whatever it is that you're looking at. So you kind of have to aim it a little bit. The scan range is fairly big at 35 meters and the cooldown is 35 seconds. So this is an ability that does take a significant amount of time to cool down. In my opinion, that's kind of slow for its overall usefulness, which is not as great as you would think. The move has an overall fairly big windup, so if you're playing aggressively and pushing, you really need to do this preemptively because you don't want to be stuck with a lot of combat downtime fooling around with your ping when somebody has a shotgun in your face. And also, sometimes after you ping enemies, the after images can be a little bit confusing, especially in a hectic fight. On the upside, your teammates can see it. Hopefully you don't confuse them with it, so you're sharing this information with everybody, including the enemy team. When you scan the enemy team, they know. They can see your scan, they get a loud call out, it's very audible, everybody knows they've been scanned, and it's game time. So when you scan somebody, you need to have your team in place, ready to go, ready to react, and ready to know what's going on with it. I think this ability is best used sparingly. I think if you try to pop it all the time in combat, you'll get yourself killed. And the best situations for it, honestly, are when you want to push a team that's camping inside of a building or a bunker or something like that. When you just need a little bit of information before you go in balls deep, it makes a big difference. However, I will admit, sometimes I can use it to get an idea of where people are in smoke if I don't have thermal optics or my ultimate's not ready. Sometimes in the smoke it's a little deceptive and I'll run the wrong way, but at least I know where they were. And finally today, let's talk about Bloodhound's ultimate, which is really strong. No, it's really, really strong. I think it's one of the strongest ultimates in the game. The ultimate itself has a relatively short cooldown of 3 minutes, and that's if you're not taking ultimate accelerants. I have a tendency to hoard a few as Bloodhound because I like having this always available. When you activate your ultimate, it has a little bit of a wind up, but then you get plus 25% movement speed and hunter vision for 35 seconds. The movement speed bonus is godly. It's like having Bangalore's passive just permanently on. You're zipping all over the map, you're running very fast, especially if you put your guns away, you can just kind of fly at people. That means you're strafing faster, you're climbing faster, you're doing everything faster, which is just beautiful. You also get Hunter Vision, which is incredibly beneficial. Hunter Vision will turn the entire game grayscale, except enemies will be highlighted red and their most recent footsteps are visible on the ground and also highlighted red, so you can follow not just the indicators, but their literal, physical, exact footsteps directly to where they're heading if you can't already see them. You can see through smoke, debris, obstruction, just about anything, caustic gas, anything that would mess you up, you can see straight through it. It is really, really awesome. It's kind of like if you're the polio virus and you can see all the unvaccinated kids in Washington. The duration of this ultimate is also very scary because it lasts for 35 seconds. Most ultimates in the game are one quick ability, one big pop off, a zip line, we call it an airstrike or something. You can pop this ultimate and reasonably keep it going on for 2 fights or one really hectic fight. You can just keep on going and pushing, and that's what it's designed for. It's designed to turn Bloodhound into an ultimate aggressive pushing machine for about half a minute. Of note, you can't see Wraith when she's void walking, but you can see Mirage through any holograms or ultimate. You do not get bamboozled by his holograms because they don't give off heat. This ultimate ability is essentially like having a threat detector sight permanently turned on. And in my opinion, you want to pop this before every single fight. Just if you know a fight's coming, if you're ready to just rumble, go ahead and pop it. It allows you to go Super Saiyan aggressive. There is no downside whatsoever to moving faster and seeing through all the distractions in the game. It's just pretty much pure upside, with the exception of the fact that they do have an incredibly loud call out when you do it, so they'll hear you from a long way away. This works super well if you're paired with a Bangalore on your team, or if the enemy Bangalore is dumb enough to throw a bunch of smoke that they think they can hide in. And again, it's one of the strongest ultimates in the game. This turns you into a hunting Super Saiyan godly killing machine that you can just run people down. And that's how Bloodhound really is supposed to work. You're supposed to have your ultimate up a lot of the time. You follow the footsteps and the little clues to get close. You scan them. When you know where they are, you pop your ultimate and just go in a pushing while your teammates smoke everything up. Bloodhound does have one major weakness, though, that we need to talk about. They have no escape or mid-combat disruption type ability. If somebody gets the jump on you as Bloodhound, You can't scan them and get out of it. You can't pop your ultimate and get away. You can't void walk or zip line or throw out a decoy or a barrier or throw down gas. There's just nothing for you to do as Bloodhound if somebody sneaks up on you. And that kind of makes sense. The lore of the character is the world's ultimate hunter, and if the hunter is being hunted and somebody sneaks up on the hunter, then it should be embarrassing and it should be bad for them. But sometimes when you're playing as Bloodhound and you're playing aggressive, you'll run up on an enemy team when your team's not ready, or they'll loop back around and you'll think they're 10 seconds away around a corner, but they've looped back around and they're heading back, and you'll just turn the corner into 3 people, and there's just nothing you can do about it. They're going to murder you. There's no ability for you to outplay or counterplay that, which can be brutal. So a little bit of caution with your aggression will go a long way. Also, +5 observation points for you if you notice that during the entirety of this episode I use gender neutral pronouns, because Bloodhound has no gender. Bloodhound has no, very little biographical information at all, and according to the game lore, they prefer they them. So thought it'd be an easy thing to do. Guys, hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Drifter out.
Kills him to start nading.
Light my ass up.
Dude, that's the longest sticky I've ever hit. I hit a sticky off the zip line. This dude is suffering over here somewhere.
I think they're getting third party. Careful.
It's my nights.
Whoop, that's bad. All right, I'm taking a break.